Hey guys, Assalamu alaikum, and I welcome you guys back to our series Scratch Learn with Fun. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic that is about the structure of a program. So we have different type of structure when we are going to do the programming. The number one is the sequence. The sequence means we have to perform our instruction one after the other in some specific order. If we look at this diagram, there we can see there we have different type of instruction written all over there. The first instruction says that you have to go to a position that would be 0 0. So if I consider this is my coordinate system, so this is the point where I'm going to stay. It is 0 0. After waiting for 1 second, the next instruction it says you should go to minus 200 and minus 100. So the x direction would be the left hand side and the y direction would be downwards. So let's say this is the point where it's supposed to go. Following the instructions, our program would do one by one, it would execute all these instructions. So this is the flow of the sequence. It has a simple pattern to follow. We can relate the sequence with our regular routine jobs. If you look at the regular routine job, you wake up early in the morning. Next, you go to shower. You go to take a shower. Then you come back, and then you take a breakfast, and then you go for your school or college or university, wherever you want to go. So this is the basic sequence. You have to perform certain activities, and then the next activity will pop up, and then you have to do it. So following this program, the sequence is giving you the information like there is no different directions. You have to follow whatever is written over there. It's a very simple flow of the process. The next is decisions. So let's have a look at the decisions. What happened in a decision box when we talk about decisions? The decisions have a different routines. When we talk about decisions, it works sequentially, but it also has one important element that is condition. Yes. So if you look at this block where we can find there is one block with the if instruction. And if you look at this one, this is the place where it's going to make you stop. तो यहाँ क्या करेगा मेरा प्रोग्राम चलेगा अपने सीक्वेंस पे ही द वेरी फर्स्ट इंस्ट्रक्शन वी गिव टू इट इज टू गो टू एक्स एंड वाई तो ये एक पॉइंट पे पहुंच जाएगा लेकिन इसके फौरन बाद अब हमारे पास एक आ जाएगा डिसीजन I have to take a decision. Either I have to go inside this block or I should skip it out. This means मेरे पास जो इंस्ट्रक्शन लिखी है say I find a ball for 2 seconds. It will only execute ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ उसी वक्त execute होगी जब मेरी condition if I touch the ball would become true. यानी अगर मैं बॉल को टच करूंगा तो say I find a ball execute होगा otherwise it will skip out. अगर मेरी कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाएगी तो ये कंडीशन ये इंस्ट्रक्शन एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगी. So the flow of the decision would looks like this. If we start from this point, now we have two different dimensions. If it becomes true, तो मैं नीचे चला जाऊंगा. Okay? And if it is become no, means false, तो मेरी डायरेक्शन प्रोग्राम की चेंज हो जाएगी. So my sequence is going to be changed. If you look at this, अगर मेरी इंस्ट्रक्शन ट्रू हो जाती है तो मेरा सीक्वेंस कंटिन्यूस हो जाएगा. आई विल एग्जीक्यूट दिस से हेलो. लेकिन अगर मेरी कंडीशन फॉल्स हो जाती है तो इस इंस्ट्रक्शन के बाद नेक्स्ट इंस्ट्रक्शन जो मैं एग्जीक्यूट करूंगा वो ग्लाइड वाली करूंगा. आई विल स्किप दिस आउट. इसको एग्जीक्यूट करने की ज़रूरत बाकी नहीं बचेगी. सो इफ यू लुक एट इट्स डेफिनेशन इट सेज it works sequentially, but once it gets a conditional instruction, it has to take a decision either to perform this or that based on a given condition. तो जो भी कंडीशन हमारे सामने होगी अगर वो कंडीशन ट्रू है तो मेरा काम हो जाएगा. अगर मेरी कंडीशन फॉल्स है तो मैं उस इंस्ट्रक्शन को स्किप कर कर आगे बढ़ जाऊंगा. The third type of structure is loops. Yes, the loop is a very interesting thing. If I have to repeat certain things, certain instructions again and again, so there are things we can do. Number one, we can write all these instructions again and again. Another way is to use a loop. A loop is a process जो आपको help करेगा अगर आपने एक process को repeatedly times execute करवाना है तो we are going to use a loop. Excuse me. So the loop execute series of instructions again and again for x number of times unless a specific condition becomes true. जब तक कि मेरी कंडीशन ट्रू नहीं हो जाती मेरा लूप बार बार एग्जीक्यूट होता जाएगा. अब मेरे पास जो प्रोग्राम लिखा हुआ है इसके अंदर जो मेरा पहला पार्ट है फ्रॉम दिस स्पॉट टू दिस स्पॉट यू कैन सी इट इजिली दैट दिस इज अ सीक्वेंशियल. यहाँ कोई कंडीशन नहीं है, यहाँ कोई चीज लूप में नहीं हो रही, तो इट विल एग्जीक्यूट ओनली वन टाइम. This will execute only one time because it's a sequential instructions. But the moment I will come to this point, जैसे ही मैं इस पॉइंट पे पहुंचता हूं जहां मेरे पास इंस्ट्रक्शन लिखी है repeat. What does it mean? It means you have to repeat these tasks from this stop, from this spot to this spot. You have to repeat the instructions. The first instruction it says there is a conditional statement, and this conditional statement says if something touch color blue, then it has to do following instructions. If it is true, तो काम क्या होगा अगर मेरी कंडीशन ट्रू हो जाती है तो पहले मुझे अपने कैरेक्टर का कलर चेंज करना पड़ेगा बाय 50. Then I have to play this meow sound. Then I have to change the costume. And finally, I have to glide my object to some random position. तो यहाँ मैं चार काम कराऊंगा लेकिन ये चारों काम कब होंगे एग्जीक्यूट जब मेरी ये कंडीशन ट्रू होगी. इफ दिस कंडीशन इज ट्रू तो मैंने चार काम करवाने हैं और बेस्ड ऑन दिस लूप मेरी जो चार इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं ये हर इंस्ट्रक्शन कितनी बार एग्जीक्यूट होगी. ईच वन ऑफ दिस इंस्ट्रक्शन इज गोइंग टू एग्जीक्यूट 10 टाइम्स. दिस मेक्स 10 into 4 would give you 40 instructions execution. इसका मतलब है in total we are going to execute 40 instructions if my condition is true. And if my condition becomes false, so nothing is going to be executed because everything is based on this condition and the loop would execute 10 times. But if it doesn't find this blue color touching my object, it doesn't execute anything. So these were the three different structures: sequence, decisions, and loops. And we at times we have to combine them together. कभी कभी हम इनको एक साथ जोड़ के भी इस्तेमाल करेंगे और कुछ प्रोग्राम्स के अंदर आप इनको इंडिविजुअली भी इस्तेमाल करेंगे. So now we are going back to our scratch screen and now let's see if we have to practice these three things together. So I'm heading to my scratch and let's see what we can do on the scratch side. So guys, let's have a look on this screen where I have a sequence already written over there, and then what it says you have to perform certain activity on a cat, and this time around we have to say it to go to this point, wait for 1 second, then go to next point, wait for one more second, go to the third spot, wait for one more second, and then finally glide to this spot minus 220 to 180. If I click on this flag, the cat is supposed to be changing the positions and finally it went to the spot, glides to the spot. This is the last spot. यहाँ काम क्या हुआ है, यहाँ काम बड़ा सिंपल सा किया है हमने कि we ask the cat कि पहले तो वो 0 पॉइंट पे पहुंच जाए. Let me play it again. Then it should wait 1 second. उसके बाद मैंने उसको दूसरे पॉइंट पे भेजा है, that is 100. Then I ask it to wait one more second. Thirdly, I ask it to go to minus 200, minus 100, that would be this coordinate. Wait one more second, and finally, instead of saying go to instruction, I give it a glide instruction. So it glides to the top position. There is no condition involved, there is no loop involved. So this structure is a plain sequential structure. Now, let's take another example. If I want this another character over there. Let me bring another character. Now this time I'm gonna use this basketball. And this basketball, since it's a bigger in size, let me reduce this size to 40. Now I want to make this basketball move, and I want to check this one. If it hits this cat or if it touches this cat, then it should bounce. So let's say I'm gonna make it work. I'm going to use my events one clicked, and then I would give it a position. Let's say I'm going to give it a position, go to, that's a spot. If you know what is the coordinate of this spot, on x-axis it's 100 and on y-axis it's 100 again. So let me give you the position as the starting position would be 100 and 100. Now, if I want this ball to move, I have to give it an instruction of move 10 steps, but I want to give it a specific direction. Where should it go? So I have to write point in direction, and the direction should be left side. After having a direction, now if I give him the direction, मैं इसको कहता हूँ कि आप 10 steps move कीजिए. Okay, let's say instead of 10, let me ask it to move 100 steps. Okay, it would take 100 steps and then it will reach to a new position. Let me play this one and see what does it happens. Okay, so after moving 100, I got from point to this point. Okay, from 100 I have to add a sequential thing here there. Let me add one more second over here before it moves. So this is how it goes. But what we wanna do, हमें करना यह है कि हमें एक लॉजिक क्रिएट करनी है, तो जिसके लिए मैं इसको पहले इस पॉइंट पे रखूंगा. And for this point the coordinate should be -197 and the y value would be 100. So I'm coming back to the basketball. I want this to move furthermore. So when it starts, we give him the starting point this. So if I want this to go and touch the cat, I have to make a movement of 100 steps, another 100 steps, and another 100 steps. So there would be 300 steps it has to take. So let me ask it to take 300 steps. Okay, so this is the point where both of these things would touch together. Now we want to make a conditional statement. So let's bring a conditional block that we have not used before. So I have to go to control structures and I'm going to pick if block. ये हमारा decision block है. So it has to take a condition. I'm going to put this one there. कंडीशन क्या होगी? कंडीशन ये बनानी है कि जब मेरी बॉल मेरी कैट को टच करे तो मुझे कोई काम करवाना है. ओके, लेट्स से आई वांट दिस ball to change the color. So I'm going to go for a condition first. I have to sense. I'm going into sense, and there is an option to touching. Okay, if मैं कहाँ ये पुट कर रहा हूँ? आई एम अप्लाइंग इट ऑन अ बॉल. इसका मतलब है मैं ये कहता हूँ कि अगर मेरी बॉल टच करे किस चीज को? स्प्राइट वन को. स्प्राइट वन किस चीज का नाम है? मेरी कैट का नाम है. इफ यू रीड हियर इट्स रिटन एज स्प्राइट वन. तो अगर मेरी बॉल स्प्राइट वन को टच करे तो क्या होना चाहिए? आई वॉन्ट माई बॉल टू चेंज द कलर. ओके, सो लेट्स चेंज इट्स कलर. वेयर इज दैट ऑप्शन? I want my ball to change the color by 60. Now let me play it and then we will see what would happen. क्या होता है? Okay, so they have touched together, but if you look at this point, what happens? It doesn't change the color. Why doesn't it change the color? It's supposed to change the color of this ball. It's not changing the color, maybe because we have not asked it to check it again and again. It just checked only once. So the position of this ball has been done. So I have to bring another control structure, that is the loop, because I want this condition to be checked again and again and again and again. So I have to put it within a loop. Now, the moment it touches the cat, the color of my ball is changing again and again and again and again. Do you understand this now? Let's repeat the process. राइट सो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ एन अलार्म जिस तरह अलार्म बजता है अलार्म में क्या होता है जब कंडीशन ट्रू होती है उस वक्त अलार्म बजर करता है वो अलार्म साउंड करता है तो दिस काइंड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन इज इट हैज ऑल थ्री स्ट्रक्चर्स जो तीन स्ट्रक्चर्स हमने अभी देखे थे इसमें तीनों चीजें आ गई हैं वी हैव अ सिक्वेंशियल ब्लॉक up to this step up to this stage this is the sequential after sequential I have used a conditional structure right if this would be true तो ये काम होगा otherwise ये काम नहीं होगा and then I am going to use a loop so let's say if I want to add another thing between this structure I want to make a sound let's say I want to play a sound as well so I'm going to call this basketball but it is not within a loop sorry it would be within a loop but it is not there oops let me until done this is supposed to be like this okay now let me show you what would happen do you have you noticed what is happening there the sound is playing the sound's playing repeatedly but it's not dependent on this if condition मेरी sound if की condition पे dependent नहीं है it's only depending on this forever loop तो sound तो बजते ही रहेगी भले ही मेरी cat आकर मेरे से टकराए या ना टकराए okay because if I'm going to strike तो मेरा कलर चेंज होगा साउंड की से कोई रिलेशन नहीं है दिस इज व्हाट आई सेड बिफोर कंडीशनल स्टेटमेंट अगर ट्रू होगी तो जो कुछ उसके अंदर लिखा हुआ है वो एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगा अगर ये नहीं होती ट्रू तो क्या होगा इसके नीचे वाली जितनी इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं जो कि इस स्ट्रक्चर के बाहर हैं इस स्ट्रक्चर के बाहर हैं वो एग्जीक्यूट होते जाएगी तो इफ आई पुट लाइक दिस now both of these things are going to be checked in forever loop so I hope you guys have got the idea how to use these different structures all together using different type of instructions now you guys have to try this out yourself I have put up an assignment in your Google Classroom and you have to go to the classwork section and then lecture 2 sequence decision loops there you are going to find an assignment let me show you the assignment there so there we have the assignment the assignment says you have to perform some activity okay so what you need to do you have to create a random animation with your name using sequential instructions you have to change color size and apply other effects try this out yourself let me explain you how can you bring your name on the screen let me just show you how to do it so there we go with our scratch and in the scratch size I'm going to create I'm going to call letters so if you go over there you will see the letters are there so let's say I'm going to call F then I'm going to call another letter it's A and then I'm gonna make D and let me call Y okay so I have bring these four characters on my screen this is the nickname of my son so let me call this as Fadi over here and using this Fadi I have to create a sort of animation and this is your assignment as well so I am going to put this up here A there D and then the Y okay now what we need to do we have to make these characters appear in a great way that it should appear like a animation so let me give you an example how to make it move or how to do it do it appear as an animation. You guys already know about how to work with position because we have done a great number of activities with the position thing. So let me say if I start my event using instead of this flag key, let's say this time I'm going to use some other key. Let's say I want to start my program when I press space key, okay, the space bar. Now when I press the space bar, what it will do, the F supposed to, let's say I would say that it should go to a specific point, and that point was supposed to be minus 137, and y should be 50. Okay, so this is the point for F. After having this point, I want this F to turn, to make a turn, but I want this turn to be done again and again and again. Okay, in order to make this happen, what I need to do, you all know already. So I have to go to the control, and then I want to bring it up a repeat control instead of forever. Since I don't want to make it forever, I want to repeat it for 5 times. So let me call a repeat statement, and I will ask it to turn 15 degree. Wait for a second. Let's say I will say it to do this activity as 30 degree. Wait for a second and then do it again. Okay, or maybe I can reduce the time period to zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay, let's play this now. Do you notice something? Let me stop the sound. It's making it a bit difficult for us to work around. So let me remove this one. Instead of this sound, let me say I want to do some other thing. I want to say something. Say, here is cat. Let's say this is what we're gonna say. Okay, so the F is making a movement when I press space bar. Notice? So we are done with the F, and F is going to perform its activity whenever I'm going to press space bar. It is not dependent on flag because it is linked with another event. जिस event के साथ वो linked है वो क्या है? जब मैं space की key को press करूंगा. Similarly, F के लिए तो मैंने अपना प्रोग्राम का कोड लिख दिया है. Now I want to do the same, something similar to A. So let's say I would say कि जब मैं space bar press करूंगा तो A ने करना क्या है? A is supposed to change its size by 10, but again I have to do it multiple times. तो मैं यहाँ पर भी इसको भी यही काम कराऊंगा. मैं इसको कहता हूँ कि आप साइज को चेंज करोगे बाय 5, but you have to do it 5 times. Okay, wait for a second and do it again. Along with this, I also want you to change your color. Okay, and I have also asked it to change your color. Let's see now what's going to happen. Do you see something? Yes. So the F and A both are doing certain kind of animation. Okay, now when I stopped it, A is not going to be back to its original position. So we have to say, when I'm going to start my program, I have to make A to a specific size. So let's say before entering into a loop, I want to set the size to 100%. Okay. And similarly for F, if the moment we start, we want it supposed to be at a different angular position. So I would have to ask it that you should be, let's make it turn and make it like this. Okay, so let me call it 0 degree. Okay, FNA are performing as we want. Now I'm going to give you another type of animation, a different part. I showed you how to make something turn. I showed you how to increase the size. Now I want to tell you if I'm using D and I will have to make it glide. So what I'm going to do? Again, I'm going to events and here I'm going to use the space key. After pressing the space key bar, I want my object to glide to certain point. Okay, then I want it to wait for a second and then glide again. Okay, so let's say I want to start, I want to revert back to 5649. This is the position where it is standing at the moment, but I want this to start from this spot. Let me make it duplicate. Okay, and I want to add one more wait statement in between. I want to start from this spot, then I want to go down. So I have to make it f, the x point is remains the constant. I don't want to make it change, but instead of 49, if I want it to go down, I have to change the value of y. I want the y supposed to be down this much. तो मैं इसको -140 कर देता हूँ. x की वैल्यू में चेंज नहीं कर रहा. तो मुझे एक एनिमेशन ये क्रिएट करनी है कि मेरे पास डी यहाँ से स्टार्ट हो, नीचे जाए, ऊपर जाए और फिर वापस यहाँ आ जाए. तो ऊपर जाने के लिए सेकंड ग्लाइडिंग पॉइंट क्या होगा मेरा? 140 पॉजिटिव वैल्यू ऑफ वाई. ओके, देन आई वांट बैक दिस मूवमेंट. ये जो पोजीशन थी मेरी 5649, आखिर में मुझे यहीं पे पहुंचाना है डी को. तो नाउ सी व्हाट वुड हैपन. ठीक है, तो डी ने वही किया जो हमने उसको कहा. I hope you understand it. This is basic sequential statement. If I play it again, you will better understand it. Watch it now. Okay. So D reverts back to its position as we said. Now I want to do something for Y. Y के लिए हम क्या करें? Y के लिए मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ कि Y यहाँ पर हो, उसके बाद ये Y जो है कलर भी चेंज हो, मोशन भी हो, टर्न भी हो. सारे काम जो हमने किए हैं तीनों एफ ए एंड डी में, आई वांट टू डू ऑल ऑन वाई. सो आई हैव टू मेक इट रिपीट 5 times all the instruction those has been given to different elements. और मैं कहता हूँ जब मैं स्पेस की को प्रेस करूंगा तो कोई काम करेगा, वाई 5 times काम करेगा. क्या काम करेगा? नंबर वन, आई वांटेड टू चेंज द साइज by 10, set the size initially to 100%, change the color. हम इसका कलर भी चेंज करा देते हैं बाय 40% या 40 नंबर. देन ये काम तो हो गया, कलर भी हो गया, साइज भी हो गया. नाउ आई हैव टू वर्क विद इट्स पोजीशन. तो आई वांट दिस थिंग टू ग्लाइड टू डिफरेंट रैंडम पोजीशंस. ओके, डिफरेंट रैंडम पोजीशन पे वो जाएगा और फाइनली आई वांट दिस वाई टू गो टू, सॉरी, ग्लाइड टू फाइनल पोजीशन जो कि उसकी ये वाली होनी चाहिए. इस पोजीशन पे y की वैल्यू होनी चाहिए 58 एंड x सपोज टू बी 139. तो आखिर में मुझे सारे काम करवाने के बाद उसको इस जगह पे बुला लेना है. तो लेट्स सी अब क्या होता है. ठीक है, so this is something I have used to make all the characters act differently. ठीक है, हमने क्या किया है, सारे कैरेक्टर्स को अपनी मर्जी से अलग अलग तरह का कैरेक्टर्स दे दिए हैं. नाउ मैंने ये जानबूझ के इस तरह से किया है कि आई वांट टू सी हाउ क्रिएटिव यू guys are because we have done certain exercises before. Let me show you something that we done before, and I want you guys to perform something similar to it. See this one. So if I click on this button, see how would the screen would appear. Did you notice? जिस तरह यहाँ पर स्ट्राइक की एनिमेशन आ रही है, you guys have to try to make something similar to this. Let me play it again. What was happening with the strike? ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, उसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ कलर चेंज हो रहे हैं. तो you can have different type of animation. Maybe you can have all the characters, they will move around. All the characters may be changing colors. All of the character may be changing its sizes. You can do whatever you want. It's all up to you guys. आपने अपनी creativity से इन चीज़ों को try करना है, assignment को follow करना है, and then we are going to discuss furthermore in our tomorrow's class. Thank you very much for your time.